Hello and welcome, everyone. As always, you are all welcome to the aftermarket analysis session of the Indian markets Nifty and Bank Nifty. Every day at 5 p.m. in the evening, we conduct this live session. Here, we look at how, after the market closed today, where buyers and sellers came in Nifty and Bank Nifty, and basically, we try to read the footprint properly. If you are new, want to learn how to read footprints properly, want to learn order flow, and also want to learn how to use GoCharting effectively, then you can join this daily live webinar at 5 p.m. in the evening. You will get the link to this webinar on GoCharting's Discord and Telegram community before 5 p.m. in the evening. If you are using GoCharting at that particular time, then you can also join directly from the top right corner here. As soon as you click on the webinar, you will get the link. In any case, if you are not able to join the live webinar, you will find the recording of this webinar on all GoCharting YouTube channels. I have also posted the links to GoCharting's YouTube channels and community in the message, and you will also find them in the video description. Okay, so now let's just see what kind of confirmation we actually got from the volume profile in the last few recent sessions. Let's take a closer look. Okay, and then we'll see, based on those same volume profile levels, where the buyers and sellers were active today. If I remove today's market and use the volume profile of the last few days, the market was in a consolidation zone, and for so many days the market has been forming a consolidation zone. The opposite zone of that entire consolidation zone was this one, okay, this one, we had marked it. And yesterday's opposite zone was this one, so we had marked this as well. And the volume profile that has formed for this entire consolidation, its value area low is this, and the value area high is this. We had also marked yesterday's swing high. If I explain the volume profile to you, let me divide it into two parts to show how these levels were marked. First, you look at this entire consolidation zone, its opposite zone, its value area low and value area high, and then yesterday's volume profile, this one, its opposite zone, and yesterday's Nifty high. We had marked only these 4 or 5 things, the consolidation and yesterday's levels, so that in this way, both the weekly analysis and yesterday's analysis are combined together. Okay, so these were some of the levels that came out. Now, based on the confirmation from these very volume profiles, we will see how the order flow gave us confirmation. There was also some news expected today. Okay, okay. There was some news expected today, so till 10 o'clock, or rather around 10:05, the news came into the market. Okay, so now let's see what exactly happened. Before reading the flow, again, you should know what delta is. Because with the help of delta, we read the footprint here daily. For example, this is the first candle. Okay, this is its delta. Sorry, not delta, these are its footprints. On the right side of this footprint, we have buyers. On the left side, we have sellers. When we add up all the buyers on the right side, and then add up all the sellers as well. Let's say we add up the buyers and take any assumed value, just so we can understand what delta is. Suppose there are 1 lakh buyers here, plus 1 lakh buyers, and on the seller's side, there are 1,43,000. Okay, so if we subtract these two, what will we get here? 43,000. Okay, who is more? Sellers are more, so here it's a negative sign. Here it's negative 43, and since sellers are more, inside the red box, whenever the selling quantity is higher, we call it negative delta. Negative delta is equal to sellers. Now let's look at this candle. In this candle, what is more? Like here, buyers were more. Sorry, here sellers were more. Here, buyers are more. Now, when buyers are more, we call it positive delta, and there is no negative sign in front of the value. That means this delta is indicating buyers to us. Okay, so this is what delta is. There are two types, negative delta and positive delta. Now, for example, look at the delta value of this first candle. 40,000, 49,000, 51,000, 50,000. Okay, and then 78,000 above 1 lakh. And then look at some candles here. Just 12,000, 8,000, 3,000, only 3,000. So here we have some candles whose delta is very high and some candles whose delta is very low. So, in those candles where the delta is very high, there has been a lot of buying and selling, and wherever there is heavy buying and selling, the big players are also present there. Okay, so what we will do here is pick those candles which have a heavy delta, and we will try to properly read the buying and selling zones of those particular candles. Now, what will be the value for a good delta in a candle? You can consider it to be roughly above 30,000. We will read those candles here which have a significant delta. Okay, you can keep the tick size here around 80. For Nifty, around 80 works quite well. Okay, so first of all, yesterday's opposition. This was yesterday's opposition zone. This one, okay, and you can call it the weekly analysis as well. You can say this was the opposition zone or support of last week, this exchange, this one. Until both are properly broken, it's so difficult for us to just leave it. There were two important support zones, and both were very close to each other. But let's read the footprint and see what kind of confirmation we got. And obviously, there was news expected at 10 o'clock. How will we read the footprint here? First of all, delta. What did delta show? That there was quite a bit of selling in the first candle. Okay, the sellers were more powerful in the first candle. So, which side did the seller jump to? The seller jumped to the left side, and we saw that particular spot where the maximum selling activity took place. Which is the spot where the highest selling activity happened? At the end of 40 and 58, okay, so we will keep marking this zone as we go ahead. There was a selling. The selling in the next candle also happened right here. The selling in the candle after that also happened at the same place. But boss, below was the VPOC zone of the entire weekly analysis. There was a good amount of selling here. There was significant selling at 81 as well. Till now, this was the biggest selling, and if we talk about the selling zone, this entire area was the zone. In the next candle as well, again, selling happened in the same selling zone. This selling zone is the biggest one so far, right? And it's normal for there to be more buying and selling in the first candle. So, what is the better option? Instead of the first candle, we should pick those candles where there is significant buying or selling. Okay, there was considerable selling in this candle. Look at this. What delta did we get on the pullback? Here, there were around 80,000 sellers, but only about 8,000 to 12,000 buyers. This negative delta clearly shows that all the buyers exited in this candle. Again, some selling activity started happening there. From this selling zone, there was a rejection towards the downside and it gave at least a 1 to move. But boss, there was a bit of a twist as well. There was news at 10 o'clock. Okay, so what was the impact of that news on the market? A huge green candle was formed, and inside this green candle, today's biggest buying took place. Now, If you look at the maximum delta, it was almost around 2 lakh. At one point, there was buying inside this candle, and even at the time of closing, there were around 80 to 90,000 buyers here. So, it's a good signal. But this candle did two quite special things here. Was there so much selling inside this particular zone? See, the cumulative delta had reached at around 3 lakhs. This candle broke through that entire selling zone, and secondly, although not perfectly, it gave a rejection from the VPOC zone, and the market easily moved above the support zone. There was quite a bit of buying in this candle itself, right at the same place where the most selling had happened earlier. Buyers came in and broke through all the selling zones. Now, the market has come back and got stuck at the same place. There was some selling at 36k. Okay, again, if you see here, these candles showed some selling. In the next candle, there was even less selling than before. And then, in this candle, all the selling just disappeared. That same selling zone held for about 15 to 20 minutes. See, a resistance was created in the selling zone. Buyers came in and broke it. In this candle, buyers came and broke through. Now, that exact resistance is acting as a support. Okay, after that, there was a good hold during the pullback, and easily, from one zone to another, from one volume node to the next, there was a very good upside movement here. Okay, now this upside movement was quite strong. Why was it strong? See, there was buying at 58, buying at 61, buying at 45, continuous buying kept happening here, continuous buying. Okay, and we saw these two candles. Again, during the day, there was heavy, solid buying. Which candles? This one and this one both showed quite heavy, solid buying. Okay, now look at this. And the best part is that buying happened above a resistance level. This means that the levels we were considering as resistance based on volume profiles, the market is also respecting them to some extent. That means, why did heavy volume come specifically above that particular zone? That means a lot again. Wherever the maximum buying happened, we have to mark that zone. So this was the zone where the highest buying took place. Now again there was a significant amount of buying above 1 lakh. Again, our job is the same, to identify the highest buying zone of this candle. It held right there. In the next two candles, the market formed pause candles and held. There was a very good upside movement, and again, we saw another round of buying. It held exactly at that buying zone. There is no selling activity here at all. There was a slight bit of selling, but the very next candle made it clear that all the selling from that candle was completely absorbed. And then again, there was an upside movement. Even in these two candles, we saw quite a good amount of buying. Look at this. The buying came at the exact same place, right at the buying zone of this candle, around 60 to 90. So, somewhere or the other, this is still the zone that is holding in the market. Okay. There was another good buying, but still, the previous buying was much bigger than this one. What happened after that? After that, almost no volume came in today. On either side, neither on the selling side nor on the buying side. If we look at the buying zone of this same candle, where the market got stuck, the market remained stuck at the same place for about half an hour to an hour. And what kind of confirmation can we take here? When the market was taking a pullback here, boss, there was absolutely no sign of selling anywhere, and the market held quite well at this point. Okay, it held the same way, and we saw a rejection. Up to where? Again, up to today's high, and then the market closed right there. So today, what did we see in Nifty? Especially, sellers came in, quite strong sellers came in, and there was also a rejection in the selling zone. But again, around 10 a.m., there was news. Buyers came in, there was a big candle, and even within this candle, there were quite a lot of buyers. All the selling zones were cleared, and the biggest selling zone was broken right there. That same zone, which earlier acted as resistance, now acted as support. There was a pullback, and quite a few people got trapped. The upside movement broke this resistance again. A good number of buyers entered. There was a pullback in the next two candles. It was a small pullback, then an upside movement, and another round of buying activity. There was buying worth 1 lakh. In these three candles, an attempt was made and it dropped during the pullback. Held on quite well. Upside movement. This time again, it came down during the pullback at the same place. And then upside movement, meaning all the buying activity that happened in Nifty today was well respected during the pullbacks, and there was hardly any sign of selling. That's why, if we look at today's cumulative delta as well, it reached somewhere around 6.5 to 700. Okay, this was today's quick analysis of Nifty. Now, whatever questions you all have, please unmute yourself and ask.